Thank you. I'm sorry talking here. We're 5 minutes late starting, so let me welcome you to the April meeting. If you would, stand and join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are two items on the agenda that, before we approve the agenda, that we need to change. Three items. You want to go over those, Eric?
Yes, sir. Item 8J will be the removal for this evening and postponement for 30 days of the first reading of the annexation application, 2022 A01 for Gazaway Lane. That's the Ralph Devia proposal. Item 8K has been withdrawn without prejudice. That is the Suncap request for rezoning for a possible distribution warehouse. That client has walked, and so this case is dead. Item 8L is being removed because that would have been a development agreement if the zoning had been approved. So those three items are removed from the agenda.
Okay, so could I get someone on the council to approve the agenda with those three items taken off?
I move that we approve the agenda with those three items removed.
Okay. Motion. Second by Vicky. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? No. Thank you. Well, that shortens the meeting for sure. The first thing, what we're going to do now is we had no appearances planned tonight, correct, Eric?
There were no scheduled appearances. I don't know if anyone signed up with Karen to. Okay.
All right, well, we'll move on to the announcements. Eric?
Announcements, April 27th will be the Touch a Truck. It's an event we had a couple years ago that was successful, but this will be at the community building in the softball field area. And it's just a display of local equipment, police equipment, fire equipment, construction equipment, public works equipment, and there'll be free hot dogs and soft drinks and stuff. A good evening for the kids. April 30th will be the Barbecue and Brews Festival. Again, that's noon to 8 p.m. downtown. May 21st will be the Garden Club plant sale here on the grounds of City Hall. And looking ahead to June 25th will be our concert with Fly Betty at 7:30 and fireworks at 9:45 p.m.
That's on a Saturday night or Friday?
Correct, sir.
June what?
25th.
But for everybody that's here that's been here before when we've talked about the fireworks, we do it early because it costs us half as much. And we actually draw a big crowd because there are not other fireworks going on like there are closer to the 4th. So it's a big draw. It's almost like the Christmas parade. At
the barbecue and brews.
All right, that's the DDA's Ball Ground Rocks T-shirts will be for sale at Barbecue and Brews. So I think Gary Lamb putting that together, he's been very successful in doing that in Canton, and he loves Ball Ground. So I'm hoping it works out for everybody. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, let's move to approving the minutes from the March 3rd meeting. The March 3rd work session and the March 10th council meeting. Any changes to either one of those sets of minutes? I'm just going to ask that we approve them together. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, Chris, second?
Second.
Andy? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. another, no old business to deal with tonight, so we're going to move to new business. First item is the first reading of our 22-23 budget. Our budget year is from July 1st through June 30th. So luckily, we have two great people involved in putting this together early, Eric and Donna. And as you know, you guys, everybody received and had a chance to comment on the budget at this point. The budget is an ordinance, and as every new ordinance has to have two readings. So this will be the first reading of the budget. Do I have a motion to approve this is the first reading? Lee, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I might say before we confirm that I think this is the biggest budget we've had,
Yes, sir.
at least in the years I've been here. It's up to 5.1 million. It wasn't too long ago, Karen, that it was like 300,000? So we're steadily growing, but not like exponentially so. But it is up 8% from the previous year, and I hope our revenue exceeds our budget, and I hope our expenses under the budget. So that always helps things out well. If you make more than you spend, than you expect to. All in favor of the motion? Okay, anybody opposed? Okay, that's the first reading. We'll have the second in May. All right, next item, new business, it's 8B. This is consider removal of stop signs on Valley Street, the railroad crossing. As you know, that's just down the street from City Hall, about 200 feet from the arms and sirens that go off when the trains are around. We talked about this at the work session, and to actually go back and do that like we do on Depot Street, where there's a yield sign, there are yield signs instead, and because we don't. Sometimes the traffic was back up into Gilmer Ferry Road, people stopping when we have a lot of traffic, but the yield will be friendlier for our drivers. I have a motion to approve removing the stop signs and putting up yields. Okay. Lee, Vicky, any comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Sounds unanimous, thank you. Next item is consider approval of a new four-way stop at Old Dawsonville Road and William Court. This is down near our walking circle, and this is something that Chris actually came up with, and good idea, we think, but you want to say something about it?
Well, just coming out, it would be at the neighborhood of Preston Manor, and where the new townhomes are being developed. And say if you're coming from Mountain Brook North towards downtown, you have a little bit of a rise in the roadway, and it makes it hard to see. And so over the years, I've come out of Preston Manor numerous times. You kind of do it by the seat of your pants, back and forth, and hope not a car's coming. So, and with the townhomes being added, it'll just, to me, add a layer of measure of safety there for people. And coming from Mountain Brook North into downtown, they're going to have, correct, the flashing light.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of the rise in the road to indicate that a stop sign is coming. And I think it'll also slow down the traffic a little bit on Old Dawsonville, because that sometimes people like to treat that like the Indy 500 flying down that road. So I think it'll be all around. I think it'll be a win. Preston Manor, the townhomes, and the people just traveling. So,
And it will slow down traffic, that's for sure.
And just to add, this was a condition of zoning that was applied recently, but we just needed to have it on the agenda for a specific vote for enforcement purposes.
I do have a question. Signs, you know, the stop sign down here at the Valley Street, where the drugstore is, that's a flashing. That's a, I call it a Christmas tree stop sign. These won't be, these will just be plain stop signs, right?
There'd be plain stop signs, but preceding it, coming from Mountain Brook headed south, if you're familiar with the flashers at East Cherokee Drive and Ball Ground Highway, one of those large flashers will be on that side. So if you're coming from Mountain Brook to that knoll, the first thing you're going to have is that big flasher saying stop ahead. Now, coming from town, headed north, there's plenty of sight distance.
Goes for, I don't know, maybe 60 days or so. You know, those portable signs like the one they have out for the town hall. Is that something that we could, just until people become accustomed to it, you know, warning them and then the flashing next and, you know, just for a certain period of time?
Could you folks request that from the sheriff's office? Thank you.
Just, you know, I'm not saying long,
The marshal's office, I can reach out to them and see if they
Okay,
can put us for a little bit.
thank you.
you know, I'm not saying forever, but just until people get the general feel of it being there, to have that, then the
Right.
flashing, then, you
Stop
know,
sign coming
right.
soon and
Right.
whatnot. And it'll be probably several weeks before this actually goes in. I know that Development Group provided me copies where the orders have been placed for the materials, so they are on order. Some things we're ordering are taking longer than others.
Everything.
Yeah, just another safety
Yes, ma'am.
measure of just until they become accustomed to it.
Okay, you want to make a motion to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Vicky seconded. Any further discussion?
Eric, how long will they have to, is it 30 days or 60 days that they have to be covered up and not enforceable?
They're not enforceable for 30 days after they go up.
Okay. And when, do we know yet when the townhomes are planned to be occupied? I know they're dealing with materials too.
I'm thinking we're at least 90 days before the first occupant. Because they've got some stick framing going up now, haven't started on mechanicals. But usually that goes pretty quick. So they could have within 90 days, probably a little longer, but.
Thank you.
Yep.
Too bad we can't ask anybody. Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Every stop sign in the city, not on a state highway, has to be approved by the council, or removing it too, so. Thank you, that will increase the safety for sure. The next item is to consider approval, adoption of new schedule of fees. This is, we've worked on that for the last couple of months and covered it at work sessions and made some changes in the fees cover everything, including construction and building, but also water and sewer and everything. But Eric, you want to give any summary?
This is just an adjustment of some of our existing fees, like the building permit fees, water and sewer capacity fees that pertain only to new development. People that are already on the system don't pay capacity fees. The increase that we talked about in solid waste due to our costs going up on solid waste. The increase on distilled spirits, taking that from 2,500 to 5,000, which is the maximum allowed by law. Also, some new fees that were not previously covered, such as roadway repair fees applied on new developments, meter relocation fees, service location fees when crew has to go out and pretty much a subdivision that's being built, about the only time this applies, but the developer comes in, installs the meters, then the builder comes in and regrades the lot and tears the meter out of the ground or tears the box out of the ground And then when they're ready for the meter, they call, and our guys sometimes spend half a day or a full day out there digging holes trying to find where that line is so that they can reconnect and set up. And so we're going to start charging for services like that because it's time spent. We also have be for the first time having curb cut fees. Again, these are applied mostly outside of subdivisions because subdivision initially is under developer control. But this would be on existing streets where somebody just gets a curb cut to put in a new commercial business or residential structure. But also there will be curb cut fees for subdivisions and also a requirement under that for at the completion when they put the top coat on the subdivision to also extend a distance of paving each side of the entrance on the street off which they're cut.
Okay. At this point, these will be in effect as of approval. The moratorium is over for some of the things covered.
The way we did it, if this is adopted tonight, it's automatically lifted at midnight, but we're not going to come in and issue anything.
All right. Could I,
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Did the, lifting the moratorium, did it need?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I think we're part of what we actually approved. Okay, could I get a motion to approve the new fee schedule?
I make a motion to approve.
All right,
Second.
Vicki, Chris, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. We'll be go into effect tomorrow. The next item is consider relocating some bank accounts, financial accounts. And Andy, you met on that, did you not? We've got some, we're being charged fees that we really don't think we should be.
We missed E.
Okay, I'll do that.
Because of either fees that are being charged or no interest that we're getting, even if we do get interest, it's such a low, very, very low amount, and the fees greatly override that little bit that we get, so we're recommending that we move those accounts, and Donna's got all of them situated into the other institutions. Council has those laying there, they would put paperwork reflection today.
So do we need to approve the specific bank or just authorize Donna to move the accounts?
Just authorized to move the accounts.
Is that agreeable with council? If so, a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, Dennis, second.
Second.
Chris,
Any discussion?
anything else to add?
I think there's four accounts and one is, moving, I think, to another, account that's combined some things. She's got four listed.
Well, as an ex-banker, I thought fees were important. Isn't that right, Jenny? But now that I'm not in that industry, they're too much. But we're just making a movement to be more efficient with our money we have on deposit and hopefully make a little interest, even though the interest right now is not a whole lot. Some. All in favor of the motion? Okay. Thank you. It's unanimous. Next item is a proclamation recognizing April 17th through 23rd as Garden Week in Georgia. Not National Garden Week, but Garden Week in Georgia. This is something our garden club that put the botanical gardens in here on the grounds, very active and has asked us to do, and I think we've done this. We do this usually every year. So I'd just like to ask the council to approve a proclamation designating the April 17th through 23rd as Garden Week in Georgia.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let me go back on the agenda. Let me apologize. I had a eye doctor visit this afternoon, and I'm still dilated, and everything's blurry. So I'm having this. I need bigger print on this, Karen. We need to go back to item 8A, 8E. That's approval of an intergovernmental agreement for the use of mobile dispatch device.
Right, this is for computer-assisted dispatch. It's an intergovernmental agreement with Cherokee County. Chief, you want to add anything?
Basically, what it is, Cherokee wants a new system, we have a computer-assisted dispatch or CAD system. Basically, it's a mapping system, they can dispatch calls through the computer. We're currently not on that system, so it's a good tool for us as far as being able to see the calls when they come out, because a lot of times the radio's not real clear, you don't know what they said. You can look on your computer and see exactly what the address is, what the call is, they can enter it in. And also there's GPS tracking on it, that dispatch will know where our cars are at all times. Right now, they don't have that capability, so if they're out on something and don't answer the radio or they can't get them, they can look on the CAD system and say, okay, they were last seen at Valley Street and Depot, and send help if they need it. But it's a good thing, it's a good tool, and I don't know if he has the cost on there, but it's not really that expensive for us to be a part of it. We're not using the record management system because we got a pretty good record management system, but we're just utilizing the CAD system, which is basically just be able to dispatch calls and see calls that are dispatched to the deputies as well. So if they get a call right down here south of the four-way stop, a mile or so, they could dispatch them and we don't even know it, and they need help. Well, we might be the closest ones. Instead of sending somebody from Freeholm or Waleska, we can look on the map and say, oh, they're right there. We can be right there with them. So it's a good way for either one of us to help, keep up with each other and everything else. But it'll be a good tool.
Do the other cities have it?
Woodstock has it. I'm not sure that Holly Springs does, and I think Canton does. I'm not 100% sure with Canton, but I don't think they did the RMS, but I think they did like we did. They just used the CAD.
That's great.
The total cost for all our vehicles combined for the licensing is less than $1,000 a year combined. So it's a minimal cost.
Well, now, the intergovernmental agreement, 16 pages long. You've approved it, Darrell?
Yes, I did. I didn't draft that. Somebody else was responsible for its extensive coverage.
Barrels would have been a lot shorter.
Yes.
Somebody was charging by the
Maybe.
word.
Okay, well, that's, again, it'll be something good for both Sheriff's Office and our police department. So I'm glad we're part of it. Have a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement.
I move to approve it.
By Dennis, second by Vicky. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? Okay, that's unanimous, thank you. Now, let's see if I can go back to the right.
You don't have to worry about it. They've got it up there for you.
Oh, yeah, I can see that now. 2 hours ago, I couldn't. This is, we're asking to do a proclamation declaring April as Safe Digging Month. And that is a group in charge of 811 that you dial to say you're going to dig something and make sure you don't hit the gas lines or the water lines.
Sewer lines.
Sewer lines, yes. But again, we just asked to actually publicize that by making a proclamation. Could I have a motion to do so? Okay, Andy, second. Chris? All in favor?
Aye.
All-
It'd have to be safe 1 month.
Let's make sure that our proclamation says it's year-round. Thank you. I think that finished proclamations and resolutions.
Georgia City's
Got one
week.
more.
One more, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get magnifying glasses or something. And I'm the one that actually promoted the Georgia Cities Week. Georgia Municipal Association, which we've been very active with for years, and they've been very helpful with our training and representing cities in the lobbying for cities. They do this, we do this annual Georgia Cities Week, and to do so, we need to do a resolution saying we are participating in recognizing April 24th through the 30th as Georgia Cities Week in Ball Ground. One of the event were the touch trucks. That's one of the things that we're doing in conjunction with this particular Georgia Cities Week. It's through the 30th. I don't think we can include barbecue and brews in that,
Yeah,
but.
just throw it in there, put it
But-
in the mix.
Maybe we'll stick up some GMA signs around there. But I'd like to ask council to approve the resolution recognizing 24th through the 30th at Georgia Cities Week in Ball Ground. Motion by Andy,
Second.
second by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, that gets us through everything on new business tonight, since we removed the other three things. So at this point, I'll just ask Eric for your comments.
Everyone should have a copy of the monthly financial statements for the month of March. We closed the month with general fund on hand of $1,036,000, splost with $143,000, fire of $429,000. Keeping in mind fire is a pass-through. We'll be invoiced here shortly from Cherokee County and send them that total amount and a little bit more. Utilities at $1,037,000 for a total of $2.6 million. We have $110,000 remaining of the current ARP funds that we are using for some storm water projects. On March, general fund, our revenue was at almost 61,000 against expenses of 74,000. Year to date, our revenue is 1.4 million against expenses of 1 million. Splost, revenue was 55,000, expenses at almost 8,000. Year to date, our revenue is 598,000 with expenses of 573,000. Utilities, revenue for the month was 181,000, expenses 123,000. Year to date, our revenue is 1.7 million with expenses of 1.4 million. Administration, we did complete the budget. It's been distributed. Had our first reading scheduled for second reading May 19th. Effective date will be July 1st. I'm going to ask for some money a couple of times tonight. This is the first one. The city's been with the GERMA, Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency. It is our liability provider for insurance. This is the first time in my time with the city that they have ever come to us and said their standard has always been the $1 million coverage. They're saying with judgments and everything that they're seeing now, they are strongly recommending that we increase our coverages. Our current premium is $34,750. This is coverage. Predominant costs in this are law enforcement and elected official liability coverage. With some of the recent, like I say, lawsuits and activities where cities are on the losing end, they are recommending this be increased. To increase to a $3 million level would take our premium from $34,750 to $42,676. But as you noticed, the jump to the $4 million is minimal. So I'd like to get consent from the council to go ahead and enter that new agreement with GERMA and raise that level to $4 million. At the same time, we are going to ask them to go ahead and quote us $5 million. Because if that's minimal, talking with the attorney earlier this evening, the best coverage we can get and the most coverage we can get that we can afford is wise to have.
Does that include our risk reduction discount?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Okay, let's go ahead and, Eric would like us, you want us to approve?
I'm
$4 million
asking for
minimum.
authorization to go to a premium of up to $45,000. If I can get the $5 million coverage and continue going, like I say, in these higher increments, it looks like the adjustments are minimal in the premium. But I'd like to get for law enforcement and the elected body both the best coverage that we can get.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve up to $45,000 for increasing our liability insurance premium?
If not, you're just gonna go with the 4 million if it goes.
If not, I'll go with the $4 million. Yes, ma'am.
Andy made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Chris? Any more questions or? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. That's a big increase. That's something, of course, we know we've got a bigger operation now
Well, we do, but
over the years.
in talking with Darrell before the meeting, I came to work here in 2000 and we were at 1 million coverage. A lot's changed in that time period, so it's.
Good luck in getting the 5 million.
On the American Rescue Plan, happy to say that April 30th reporting deadlines have all been met. So all that reporting is done and acknowledged receipt by Department of Treasury. Traffic study, final intersection data is being obtained next week. That's the intersection up at State Route Business 5 and State Route 372 where the traffic light is. Soon as that is in, we'll schedule a meeting with the roads committee, the mayor and the engineer, and start to go through that data. And then bring that all to council, probably in a work session, just to start going through that data. Paving, notice to proceeds have been issued on Cartersville Street, McCann Street, and on Stripling Street for about 450 feet, just where they've done all the utility work from 372 down to the bottom of the hill. Old Dawsonville Road, we'd previously allocated funds out of the ARP dollars, and whatnot, to begin the widening process and improvements to that road. We're ready to move forward with the first two items as soon as school closes. Actually, the second items, the retaining wall and expansion there at Calvin Farmer Park has already been done. The engineering data has said that at these two locations, these two cross drains on Old Dawsonville Road have to be increased in size. The one on the left is a 24-inch storm drain that was put in a few years ago, saying we have to put another 24-inch storm drain right beside it to be able to carry the volume of water that comes out of that drainage basin. The one there on the right where the wooden footbridge is also needs to become, it's currently one 18-inch pipe. That 18-inch pipe needs to come out and be replaced with two 24-inch pipes. When they do that work, they will take out the wooden bridge, they will extend the pipe, and then they will make that a section of concrete sidewalk across there instead of a bridge with handrail. They'll go ahead and curb and gutter it, and then when the road project takes place, they'll just tie into that on both sides.
Eric, how long would this take, do you know, an estimated time?
We are hoping to be 7 days or less, and we're waiting till school is out because, again, we'll be asking for the signs from the marshal's office because this will require a complete road closure. But it's all the way across the road on 2 runs. So we're saying 7 to 10 days, hoping for 5.
On the handles for the where you said it's gonna go from the wood to the concrete, the handrails right now currently are just wood too, correct?
They are right now.
Are you gonna go to match like the fencing, like with the black aluminum fencing?
We
or-
plan on going with the black, yes, ma'am. Some of the GDOT items we're trying to finish up. This was the project near 420 Gilmer Ferry Road. That's been put together, but it was if you remember, we got caught in heavy rains when this was going on. Crews will go back in over the next couple of weeks and dress that up, and this project should be finished. Talk with the folks at Bartow Paving. The contract has been signed with GDOT. This is the right turn intersection improvement at the traffic light coming off of 372 onto Business 5. Notice to proceed should be issued within 2 to 3 weeks, and then they will fit it into their schedule within the next 2 to 3 months of completing that project. On Old Dawsonville Road, Mountain Brook Sidewalk connection, this is the preliminary engineering assessment, and the preliminary cost assessment is $1,002,630. Again, mostly because the amount of stormwater that's going to have to be dealt with on that section of roadway.
Now, will that take it all the way down to tying it into, for that cost, down to like Preston Manor?
Takes it from Preston Manor
All the way
to
to,
Mountain Brook, yes, ma'am.
Will the county be putting any money toward that total cost?
I'm sure they'll want to wait until the final numbers are in, because this is very preliminary. Now they're getting into the detailed engineering. The handshake agreement right now is they would pay for everything on the county portion of right-of-way. The city would pay on the city portion of right-of-way.
and do they have more? Who has more?
I think the county would.
The county would have more right-of-way.
They have more right-of-way. We will have equal or maybe a little bit more of storm drain. Storm drain is much more expensive, but they have a longer run. So my estimate right now is they'd be looking for the city to put in $350,000 to $400,000.
But they've waited a long time for it at Mountain Brook.
Thank you.
Moving to water and sewer, this is one of our humor ones for the week. This is the Howell Bridge lift station. You see all the mess on the ground there. That's all the grease and mop strings and handy wipes and everything. The item on the chain, that's a sewer pump with a broken impeller. But the humorous part in the bottom, and you can't really see it on there, but if you see the blue glove on the bottom, right to the right of that and back towards the pile, some very brave soul, because those are swimming goggles. We tend not to use them in there. Sage Hill Lift Station, we've received the notification that our pumps will be delivered Monday. So we have the team ready to install them Monday afternoon. Just to give you an idea, these pumps were ordered on January 10th. So that lift station has kind of just been limping along. We've been very, very fortunate not to get in any kind of trouble there. We did order 2 pumps. So the one limping along in there, we will take out. We'll put 2 new pumps in the hole. We'll put the old one on the shelf. And if we have a problem again, we'll have something on the shelf to go in. And water source change. Here in the coming weeks, we will be moving the Lantern Walk community from our groundwater source to our Etowah River source. We're doing this, getting ready for the summer surge as everybody starts using irrigation and drawing heavily on water. We'll just be making that. So if you start hearing from folks in any of those neighborhoods, not that there's a little bit different taste or different odor to the water, it's a different source. Sanitary sewer collection system license. I told you last month that Joey Ingram had passed and become a water treatment plant operator licensee. This past month, David Dean passed his sewer collection state exams. So for the first time in a lot of years, we have redundancy in our licensing. And if you see David, give him a pat on the back. Same with Joey. These are huge accomplishments.
We worked hard for that.
Yes, it is.
Drought management, we're in the process of doing our plan update as required by law. We're about 95% complete. We'll be submitting it within the next 2 weeks to the Water and Sewer Committee. Following their review and approval, we'll bring it to council for adoption. A lot of new things in here, really targeting hard on irrigation. Again, this applies during the droughts, and droughts are established by EPD. They tell us when we're in a drought and what level drought we're in. Parks, upgrades to the pavilion there in Calvin Farmer Park were accomplished last month. Public safety, we finally filled the vacancy. The officer will start on May 2nd. The officer that has been authorized in the budget you had first reading of this evening, you had previously authorized us to go ahead and try to get that person. We believe we have that person ready to come on board. They're scheduling. Did he get scheduled today for polygraph was yesterday?
2 more things to do.
And
We're not available till the first of next month.
so it looks like we'll be filling that vacancy quickly as well, and it'll be the first time we've been at 6 folks and very close to 24/7. Asking again for more money. This was in the budget that you just had the first reading on. We're asking, since we're bringing new officers on board, to go ahead and get these next 2 vehicles ordered. We won't have payments until the budget year begins. One would be the Ford Explorer at $51,656.75 under the state contract, and that is fully equipped. The next one would be our first pickup, be the Ford F-150 4x4. And that's at $42,981 because it'll be transferring equipment from a retiring vehicle. So asking to go ahead and move forward with the ordering of these so we can get these in.
Okay, you've heard the request from Eric. Do I have a motion to approve purchasing
Motion to
these
approve.
new vehicles?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Chris? Second, Andy? When will it be done again?
The car, the SUV, they said is actually sitting on the lot. So we've been waiting months for cars, but previously we've been waiting 4 or 5 months. So it's kind of unique, so we figured asked to get it now.
She told me it was going to be 6 months to even get a car. But Wade had some in stock.
Where's the truck coming from?
Wade.
Oh, it's from Wade too.
He said he had some coming, it may already be there too. I haven't checked on that.
Have you test driven one?
No.
It's amazing what Ford has done with that. It's the only pickup truck that's pursuit rated.
Police station?
Well, let's
Oh,
vote.
that's right. Sorry about
Let's vote.
that.
All in favor? Okay, thank you.
On the police station, the difference between last council meeting and this council meeting, we're having issues right now, a little bit of difficulty getting some of the HVAC equipment. The roof, as you know, is on. Rough electrical is near complete. Rough plumbing is complete. We have been told, and I'll believe it when I see it, that doors and windows are coming tomorrow. But those have been a huge shortage item. So I'll believe them when they come in. At this time, we are on time, are on budget. House Bill 289, something different. The PD, especially during hunting season, starts to get a lot of complaints with discharging firearms in the city, especially on the larger tracks out around the old Four-Star property and the Cherry Grove properties, the big tracks out there. But with House Bill 289, municipalities can no longer limit discharge inside the city limits on tracks over 10 acres. So it's not been signed yet. It passed House and Senate, where I imagine the governor will sign it, but this is something that, as we get complaints on, something the PD will be limited on going
Do we have
forward.
that many personally owned tracts of over 10 acres in city limits?
We
or-
do.
We do.
We do. We have a good number of them.
The one I didn't think about is the large hunting club.
Yes. I mean, they're out 400 and some acres, and, you know, when that annexed into the city, the hunting club went to archery. But when this becomes law, they'll be able to go back hunting.
But where the hunting club is, do they not have to keep a certain distance from neighborhoods for discharging, or?
Yeah,
I mean,
State law, I'm not sure exactly what that is. I think it's, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say it's a little over 500 feet.
so it's not that far.
The best the way that property lays, I don't think there's any neighborhoods really close.
well, it borders Mountain Brook.
Brook North,
Yep.
yeah.
There's a gold mountain.
It borders Mountain Brook. And then you have the 40-acre tract that borders the preserve at Long Swamp. And then you've got anyway, this is coming.
Yeah, that's
So-
my concern, is just, with the neighborhoods, if they're on the edge of those grounds and they're shooting.
On planning and zoning, plan review is underway for Cowart Heights on Cartersville Street. They've just come back with the 33 that they're zoned for. Annexation petition has been received and processed for Magby Lumber and is currently at Cherokee County for consideration. Significant updates to the city website have been made, and we'll try to go to them here. Sometimes my computer will do it and sometimes it won't. And it's not really wanting to this evening. But if you haven't been to the city website in a while, if you go to the front page, it's kind of a new catalog layout. And just one click will take you to some of the different areas. You can get to the project and annexation stuff just with one click. It's on the front page. The same with being able to rent a city facility. It's right there on the front page. Information on the proposed truck bypass and its routing is right there. So that'll take you straight to those other documents. That's all I have, sir.
Any questions for Eric?
I do. Just three. You can talk real fast, just three. Just an update for the Veterans Memorial. Still, it's everything's.
Veterans
going right.
Memorial, Tuesday afternoon at what time?
2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock. They'll be making a determination on where the shade structure is being moved to. Mr. Snell has an individual that he's obtained that will be doing the masonry work. That individual will be ready to go within 3 to 4 weeks once we move it, because he's got to work it into the schedule. So first thing, we want to move quickly to move it. Probably what he's got out there is not more than 3 or 4 days' work for a block mason. So then we will see the form of it, the brickwork, and everything else. So that is done. I'm going to start doing some invoicing because they've asked for some invoices. But what we have right now on verbal commitments is about $10,000 in donations. So we'll get that out. So that's enough for all the seals and one of the statues. And we'll get moving. And Mr. Nelson had proposed a Veteran of the Month program. And so we want to work with that. Mayor spoke to that the other day and try to coincide the beginning of that with the unveiling of the memorial and getting that program started.
If citizens want to donate, are you putting that out to the citizens?
We-
Like on the water bill or something like that?
What I planned on doing was social media and our email that we send out, and really want to try to find out now exactly where I am and what I've got coming in from everybody else. I have reached out to Lowe's and asked Lowe's, they're considering a cash contribution. But I want to know kind of where I'm at so we can tell people precisely what they're donating to. What we're asking, and this is the statue, or this is just because I think we're very close to having it
Yeah,
done.
right.
And Home Depot contributed supplies?
Home
or-
Depot is doing all the concrete block, the mortar, the commercial flagpole, the uplighting, a couple other things that they're providing.
My other one was just, any updates for the Lantern Walk crossing?
Not good ones. The Lantern Walk, and I need to send it out so all of you can see it, but the Lantern Walk HOA had sent a list. They had put out a feeler in the community. And it was kind of a mixed bag on what people felt. Most, I think, opposed to the location. Some were, hey, I'd use it. And some were, we don't care where you put it, we're not going to use it. Preliminary, in talking with the engineer that's done the traffic study, came back with the same assessment as GDOT.
Still south.
It's 75 feet wide of asphalt, 70 to 75 feet wide of asphalt at a 45 mile an hour speed limit. They don't do crosswalks in that scenario. So moving it south takes it closer to the intersection, picks up a future development site, and gets it down, I want to say, to 33 or 35 feet, cuts it almost in half of the distance they have to cross the road. So at 45 miles an hour, that's the safer location. The only other alternative, warrant study, that's what they call it. The only other alternative under the warrant study is to get the speed limit reduced. And that's really going to be a political issue. That's one that if we can bring enough political influence to bear to drop that to 35 or 25, approaching the stop sign or future roundabout, it then becomes safe for a crosswalk even at that distance.
Should we just do it between the four-way stop and the light, the stoplight, and have a slower speed limit? You know, take it all the way to the stoplight?
That we have asked for that, and yes, I think that is the best approach, is to start, you could start up by Town and Country, and typically you have a reduction just like they do on the north end of town. Just start bringing that down from 45 to 35 to 25 to the,
That's a DOT-controlled road.
yes, sir, that's a
So-
DOT controlled
So you're
road.
more likely going to lose your right to do speed detection unless they approve the speed limit.
They have to, right. And they're the only ones that can approve the speed limit, but then, as you know, depending on the 85th percentile speed, whether or not you can get enforcement on it. Because if they say, we're going to lower you to 25, but your radar permit's going to stay at 45 because the speed is too high.
Well, we've tried to get it lowered on Canton Highway, and we're told, no, the average is like, don't drop it below 45 because the average is like 58. And like, well, we've gone back and forth, but I pointed out to Eric is you go to Waleska and you go from 55 to 50 to 40 to 35 to 25. You go to Jasper, this is state highway. You do it too, but they won't so far do it for us. But we need to, as you approach the four-way stop, to be roundabout, I think we do need to start slowing the traffic down and allow that crosswalk to be built right there at the intersection. My comment.
Number 3?
Well, the third one was just gonna ask you about the speed bumps, East, Cherokee Village, where the people like to cut through from Gilmer Ferry to Northridge.
Cherokee Village, I need to go over and pull the data on the last street. The sign's been up, it's collected it. I need to pull the data, go through it like we did for Heritage Woods. We did reach back out. We've completed Heritage Woods and have not heard back from them. We let that HOA know that by our policy, the streets did not merit speed humps, because speed humps are meant to keep traffic 30, 35 miles an hour. So you look at the 85th percentile speed, what everybody's driving. You know, on one street in there, they were driving 29 miles an hour was the 85th percentile speed, and I think the other street was 31 miles an hour. So they're right there like a speed hump controlled street anyway. Cherokee Village, I think, will be higher. So,
I think so too. Thank you.
yep.
Okay, Eric, you brought up the website. I was going to actually tell you that how greatly improved it is. You can now find information much easier, and that's certainly for a development that is being planned and being approved. It's very detailed, and Chris has put that together, and it's really good. But it is a great improvement, I think, to the website.
And it's there now. So that's the front page. So
Well, it's
one click and you're straight into it.
it's good. I was going to mention also that when we put together the Roberts Lake Trail, a year and a half ago, I went through it very early, but not then. I don't hike where snakes are out. So I haven't been out there until a few weeks ago. I did it, and if you haven't been, I mean, it's a tough trail, but it's beautiful, and all the signs and our city crew has maintained that, and I was just very impressed. People with me, they were like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know this existed and how great it is." But if you ever have a chance, if you haven't,
Where is this?
it's Roberts Lake Trail. It's kind of behind the Wheeler House. It's a city. A city has 50 acres that we bought down to along Swamp Creek, and it's like you get down toward the creek. It's like being in the mountains. I mean, it's just so pretty. Hemlock trees and mountain laurel and
Signage, though, to get to it is not real good. Is there any, because people don't know how to get to it.
Right.
Is there any way, because when the first time I drove back there, it was like, there's nothing back, you get a little scared, because.
And that's
you're
kind
going
of,
down
and that's kind of why we haven't. And also because of the residents that live right there on the beginning of it. So it's kind of been by word of mouth and getting to it. And again, pick on Mr. Snell again, but he's contracted with someone to put in a parking lot down at the bottom of the hill on city property. The trail will then begin down there,
Right.
and at that point, we will put out notices, trailhead locations, everything else. So kind of doing it in steps, but trying not to encroach too much. And the area down there really isn't conducive yet to a lot of vehicles. We've greatly improved that road, but
Do you think you could do like something on our website, like a map, to kind of like an aerial picture of map? Because going down there, people are going to think this is not where this could be at,
it is. We'll try to get it more. It's on our parks page.
And just maybe,
But we'll try and get it a little bit more defined on the
yeah,
parks
like
page.
user-friendly, so.
Right. And most of the people that use it use the All Trails app, and that's got good directions on how to get to it if you're using All Trails and whatnot. And if you're on all trails, give it 5 stars.
Well, again, I'm happy we have this. If you turn the clock forward 100 years, it'll be a huge long-term value to our city. And then the ruins of the dam down there are very interesting. I don't know how I managed to climb up the side of it, but I did. But then I struggled to get down. I want to also mention today I did something here in Ball Ground that I haven't done for quite a few years. I had my emission test for my car. And I'm so happy to have that again, because how many years has it been? 10, 12 years since Nick's closed?
And because Nick's quit doing it even before they closed, so.
But I'm just, you know, if you go 2.5 miles north of us, it's not required. But we have to have it here for cars in Ball Ground because we're in Cherokee, but it really, and it was easy,
What did they charge?
$20.
Okay, just curious.
That's
Yeah.
one of my neighbors said that they paid $39 in Canton.
Yeah, last year I paid 25 in Canton, so it's a bargain.
Well, just bring it to Ball Ground. At our work session, we determined that the May meeting will be held on the 19th.
Work
May.
session 17th, meeting 19th.
So I just want to we won't be, the second Thursday next month, we won't be having a meeting here. And the last thing I just want to run by the council, remember when we had the city elections and we had our sign ordinance has a 30-day limit?
I forgot all about that.
I would like for us to, based on, we've got a lot of local, elections taking place, candidates, I would like to request that we allow the political sign or any temporary sign, it has to be any temporary sign on private property for 45 days to the end of May, because that's when the election will be in May, May 24th, or
I've been in violation.
so is that, any problem with us that, but now that allows more than just political signs to be placed. It's just any temporary sign, but
Is that on private property, sir, or right of way as well?
no, right away is Friday through Sunday, right?
Right.
But this is
Is
on,
it the small signs, Mayor?
right,
Not the big signs? I need to clarify that.
except on a corner. You can count that as 2. Don't tell Harry I said.
Could we maybe put on for our next meeting, instead of just right now for 45 days, maybe just make it a
Permanent.
permanent thing?
It's just it's ordinance change thing.
Right,
So,
to change, to change it.
But I think we should too, yeah.
Think we should push it to 60?
What does Canton do? They have signs up for months before, but they don't follow never mind. I won't say that. Let's just say that our ordinance it complies with Supreme Court ruling. So anyway, so we'll bring that up at our next work session and try to go ahead and change that ordinance. I guess that's all I have to say. Just anybody else? Andy, you have anything? Dennis?
You skipped me.
Well, you just had your.
Just gotta wish everybody, I was gonna wish everybody a blessed and happy Easter.
Thank you.
Vicki,
Yes, sir.
would you like to say
I
anything
did.
else?
I did.
I'm sorry, I thought you had covered.
Just
Chris?
everybody have a safe and happy weekend with Easter.
Look for eggs.
For all of those that have children, the Masonic Lodge is having an Easter egg hunt Saturday. I can't tell you what time.
I'm assuming it's 11 o'clock.
When?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, okay.
Darryl, do you have anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, at this time, anybody want to address the council on any
I'd like
matters?
to just mention, were y'all talking about the possibility of reducing speed on Highway 5? You talked about it, but if DOT's in a good mood and listening, I would like all of Highway 5 in the city limits reduced. The quarry trucks are coming down through there, and if they're not paying attention, they're never gonna get stopped at some of the speeds they travel. So I know it was.
I agree, but
Talk about it.
that's 5 business. You know where Highway 5 is? It's in.
Oh, you're talking about.
It's on 575. State 5 is on 575, but 5 business is what's run by your place.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
So, and it needs to be repaved too, I'll tell you that. It's like a
It-
bad,
I'd just add one thing that we did inquire is why the power went out today. When he said the quarry truck, we had another truck come through with the bed up and snatch the main line there at Mineral Springs and Business 5. So that just, it sets the world on fire at that intersection, literally.
that's where he lives.
It did, because of the switcher, but it going in and out, that huge automatic switch was opening and closing and opening and closing, and
Yeah, I found my computer turned off when I
Yeah.
got home.
I got to reset all my phone.
Yeah.
forgot until you said Corey truck, because that's what it was.
I just wanted to ask about removing the stop sign to a yield sign. When you're coming up to the railroad tracks where that stop sign is from this direction, there's that parking lot to your left. And people cross right there at the tracks and you cannot see them. Is there a way to put something telling them to go, like do not cross here at the parking lot? So they go the right way and cross? Because I mean, I stop, but you almost hit people because they'll come like right over that and you don't see them.
Yeah, we can't-
People are gonna be so quick to just,
Well, we can't put a sidewalk
there because of the tracks.
because of the tracks unless we pay, what, like $250,000 to put an actual gate that like a.
I just meant like maybe in the, like where the parking lot is, people who are coming from that parking lot to say no crossing here, so they go to the side where the sidewalk is on the main road
Okay, well-
and cross over.
I wonder if you could fence it, run a
Yeah.
fence down that area
So
so
that's what
that,
cars are pulling out there, so you can't really fence it.
well, right by the railroad, are you talking about right by the railroad tracks is where they'll cross
Where the
over?
parking lot is, they're coming out of the parking lot.
Right.
Where cars would drive out.
Right,
And they're
right.
coming right there, and it's the same, and they're coming, so then, since they did that coming in, they're coming from Scoops and coming back that
Right, or
way.
they cross
And
right
they're
over by
crossing
the.
right over the tracks.
Right, and that's
where
what
that
I was
sign
saying,
is.
right from where the tracks go over, just down from there, so they wouldn't,
We
it
can't,
would push them to cross.
we can do signage, but we can't erect any fence within 25 feet of the edge of rail.
Okay.
And then also, like, when you come up to the actual stop sign, through the main street, I don't even know the road name, oh my gosh.
Gilmer Ferry.
372. That stop sign, ever since Scoops redid their whole thing, you cannot see,
Yeah,
so
it's
then you have
very
to go
hard
over
to
the
see.
crosswalk. And so then people cannot cross. I walk through here all the time. I walk the whole town almost every day, and it's an issue, and, you get aggravated with the cars, but yet they can't see, and so then you can't cross, so I don't know. And then the button you used to be able to push to cross, it no longer works right there.
Yep.
Or the sign is completely gone, one.
The sign's gone.
Where
got
are
hit.
we at on
They
making
got
that
run
a
over.
four-way? A four-way stop
Yeah.
there. Because we've
We-
been working on that, doing that a four-way stop there.
We are actually pretty close. Once we get the final data from the engineer, then we will be asking for a meeting with mayor, council, Senator Beach. We meet like 3 of the 5 criteria to turn that into a 4-way stop. So, but GDOT obviously wants all 5.
And one of
But
those
the
was
engineer said-
eliminating the stop signs at the railroad tracks, correct?
The other one is they would like to see, which has already been voted on by council and approved, but Mound Street being one way going south because it eliminates an entry point onto the state highway. That's already been done at Church and executed. We eliminated the entry point there to the state highway, so it just kind of cleans up through there.
Is Mound gonna be one way all the way, or just
no,
the
ma'am.
first half to Chestnut Street?
All that was approved was to Chestnut.
Okay.
Well, the four-way stop at that intersection would help pedestrians and traffic coming
So will
out.
the crosswalk be moved to right at that intersection, so then you can go right
Right.
there? Okay.
And the signs that were taken out by cars have been delivered and are at Public Works. We need to get them assembled and installed.
Anybody else? Mary?
Chris, thank you. That website is great, and the planning and zoning area, how you click on an item and you see what's gonna be there, it's really great. I like it. Thank you. Thank you very much. User friendly.
It is. Okay. I'm sorry.
I just want to know, the townhomes on Old Dawsonville, are those going to be for sale, or are they going to be with us investors for lease?
Eric, you want to answer? They're to be sold, and they're going to be pretty expensive.
What is,
Very unlikely to be rental properties.
Most places have a sign, that'll say, oh, coming soon, gonna be in the 300s or 400s, but it doesn't have that, so.
They're for sale, high threes.
High threes? Okay.
And a lot of times, if it's a new development, especially the HOA, won't even allow renters for the first year or two.
No, but there's I've done real estate for 36 years, but there's a trend now that investors are buying whole things like that and making them for lease. There's one in Ackworth right now that's like that, so.
I think we're going to actually be considering that as part of development approval, that the HOA will determine, they can determine the minimum renters.
They do it from the get-go.
Right.
And it's just investors doing it and stuff, so.
You want to comment, Woody?
I was just curious who was building them and.
Yeah, it's Kenyan Homes, but it's
Oh, okay.
100% for sale community, but
Okay,
if
great.
you couldn't prevent an individual.
No, I understand that.
But I know exactly what you're saying. There are a number of communities around that are called built for rent communities, and they're 100% leased. You don't have that at that location at all.
Good, thank you.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.